traumas. Here's what's very important. That is like someone hitting enter on the keyboard. It's like typing a sentence. This is what's going on in my life right now, and then enter. And we'll just store that. And it becomes a magnetic tape of the memory of your body. And your posture becomes your armor to the world of what's happened to you. Your biography becomes your biology. The things of how you hold your body tell a story of what's happened to you and how people receive you and what you'll attract in your life. Until your body doesn't hold itself that way anymore. Different types of stresses. When a person's body does this kind of forward stress, okay, this thing, that's flexion of the spinal cord, that tends to be more fear, more fight or flight, more adrenaline. It could be fear, could be the anger, but those kinds of emotions. It can be, just so angry that you need to punch someone. Like think of a person going into that kind of part of their body, that kind of position in their body. When there's twisting and turning and their spinal cord turns, like scoliotic type curvatures or side bending, this is, think of the person doing this. Their body's turning inwards. There's been an emotional event that's happened to them that they've personalized. And it translates their whole body. When we check their leg lengths, when their heels turned in, it's like their whole body's turned inwards from some event. And it just, I'm saying that like showing you my body, but it could be a few millimeters of a segment of the person's spine and their spinal cord twisting, okay? But over the years, those few millimeters, you'll see people 40 years later and they're like this, because those just accumulate. But nothing's ever happened to them. There was a study that was done at University of California, Irvine, I'm sorry, that's a different one, UCLA. And it was on depression. And they took people that were certifiably depressed. So they weren't just a little depressed, they were good at it, okay? So they're certified depressed, and not to make fun of anybody or anything, but so what they wanted to do is take 3 different scenarios and have one group have a placebo, one group have a particular antidepressant, and another group stand in front of a mirror with their head back, and their head back, their shoulders back, their chest out, and they were instructed to smile in front of the mirror and breathe deeply for 20 minutes per day. They had to come and report and do this with their body. That group that did that for 20 minutes a day, I don't know if it was a month or 3 months, I'm not sure, but that group had greater changes than the antidepressant and the placebo, because they were doing something different with their body and their breath and their movements. And when we're taking care of you, we're helping your body better be able to do something different with your body, breath, and movement innately, without you having to stand and think about it, but your nervous system to be able to do that, so when events happen to you, don't store them. Otherwise, what happens is it's like there's mud on the windshield of your car, and you can't see the road, and then it's cleared off, and it's like, oh, I can see, like life is happening like it is supposed to now. I read this story. It's called Arthur's Story. It's from the 12 Stages of Healing. Everybody in care, I highly suggest you read this book. If you're in basic care, you should read stage 1 and 2 and into 3. If you're in intermediate care, you should read stages 3 to 8. And also, we highly recommend everybody do SRI 1 session a month with Stephanie, because the exercises that she teaches you helps you learn the rhythms of your body to pay attention during the course of your sessions, and you can do the exercises on your own. Arthur's Story is in the stage 3. Arthur came to my office one night with his body bent over to one side. He was in great pain, his fists were clenched, and he needed a cane for support. He had difficulty getting around, and sitting was impossible. Arthur was a captain of an excursion boat. As he was bending over to make a repair, he felt a snap in his back and then experienced extreme pain. He had consulted an orthopedic physician who treated his pain, but it had not gone away. Arthur's family convinced him they needed healing rather than curing. Although very skeptical, Arthur came to me, Dr. Donald Epstein, author of 12 Stages of Healing. I began by telling him that I understood he was in a lot of pain, but I could do nothing for it, nor would I attempt to. I told him that if he would like his nervous system to function more effectively, I could assist him by adjusting his spine. I added that I did not know whether the adjustment would increase or decrease his pain, nor could I assure him that he wouldn't feel additional pain in areas he didn't know about yet. I told him you can't heal it until you can feel it. Out of deference to his family, Arthur decided to let me adjust his spine. I examined it, and because of the tense feel of the musculature, asked him if an emotional trauma occurred about 20 years earlier. We're trained to actually feel a person's spine and tell you, and be able to tell emotional traumas were they 5 years or 10 years or 20, and was it emotional trauma or more chemical trauma. That's what he's talking about. If any emotional trauma occurred 20 years earlier, his case history had revealed no major trauma. He replied nothing happened that year, but added his brother died in Vietnam 23 years ago, but that had nothing to do with his back now, because he just hurt his back while he was making a repair. Realize everything's connected. When I found where the interferences needed to be adjusted, I carefully adjusted his spine in the area where his neck met his skull. The results were dramatic. Within seconds, Arthur's spinal posture began to shift. His neck was no longer pitched forward, and his fists were no longer clenched. He placed his cane on the floor and sat up comfortably. He said, you know, I almost cried today from the pain. I never cry. I never even cried when my brother died. I had not asked him for that revelation, nor did I expect him to say anything of that nature. Yet his comment is characteristic of what happened when a nerve system is freed from a perspective. The interference blocking the nervous system from moving into the next level of reality is discharged. It's not unlike driving for hours and suddenly realizing that our movement had been impaired by a buildup of mud on the windshield. As we sat for a few minutes listening to a rendition of Pachelbel's canon that included sounds of oceans and birds, Arthur suddenly started to cry. He told me how he hated birds because they annoyed him so much while he worked. Now he realized that they were God's voice speaking to him, a comment coming from a person who had no interest or training in spiritual matters. As I left him to attend to other patients, he said, I just want to get lost in the sounds of this tape and the birds. The second time I saw Arthur, I adjusted another vertebra in his neck, and he re-experienced a trauma to the point that he thought blood was coming out of his mouth. He began punching the air and screaming, it's broken, while holding onto his jaw and face. He was reliving an event that took place about 3 years after his brother had died. One day his father had lost his temper and tried to kill Arthur by pushing a refrigerator on top of him. He not only re-experienced the facial distortion of that one-time impact, but he re-experienced the trauma, the emotions, and the unresolved information he needed to go through. His reactions were not expected, nor were they solicited. They came up when his nervous system became freed from a perspective. So understand, your biology becomes your biography. I'll share a story, and very often, your body has a story to tell you. Dr. Rochelle and I, we're always very excited when people have all kinds of symptoms and things change. It's wonderful. Like someone told me today that she could turn her head for the first time. And that's great. I mean, for some people, that's like a miracle, okay, that you can turn your head and look in the mirror of your car. And we're excited about that. At the same time, we really don't want to communicate to people that we're here to remove your symptoms. Your body will remove your symptoms when it's ready to. May you have no symptom